Else I turn my mic on. Thank you, Tagore. Are there any questions, thoughts, ideas? Tonight he's kind of laying out the plan. Anybody have any thoughts, idea? I see David wrote in the chat room. I find it interesting that they did not give their names either. Carolyn.
Yes, I just want to thank Tagore so much for all that he's already presented, and look forward to just going through this. It's an awesome journey that he'll take us on. Thank you, Tagore, so much.
Yeah, that was. Do I have an echo here? Oh, okay.
There you go.
Yeah, that note was in reference to Legion.
Oh.
We are. The reply was just "we are many." I just found that interesting, kind of in line with God doesn't give. They denied Christ their name. So.
You're right. They did not give their individual names, but they have some collective.
Yes, they were Legion. They were many.
Yeah.
Acting consort. But anyway.
Yeah. He asked for their name, but it is possible that they did not give actual name, but they gave something equivalent. We will discuss that when we come. That's good. Good. You are questioning the teaching. I like it. I'm done.
And then I also we in our study of the week of the Passover there, it seems it wasn't just 24 hours from the Last Supper to it wasn't just one day. It seems that the Last Supper was either the night of the 9th going into the 10th, or it was the night of the 10th, because you have because that was when the lamb was separated from his flock. So that's really the only other thing that really stuck out to me tonight. So, I'm done.
Yeah, we will discuss when we come to that section. The Last Supper, the actual Passover in the ritual in the Old Testament. So there are some correlations and there are some things not exact with respect to times. Yeah, good point. I will also make a note. We will discuss that.
Hi, Tagore. Thanks. This is Scarlett. Thanks for all the work you put in on that. You know, it's very helpful to go through and outline these books. I imagine you learned quite a bit just going through and outlining it like that.
Thank you, Scarlett. Want to be a little bit more organized, so that's why it took some good time of mine. Couple of days. I borrowed it heavily from other commentaries, but I have to go myself through the whole Gospel of Luke and correct them. And sometimes they use the word nativity or Christmas. I have to take them out and put like more the words that are more meaningful to me. So yeah, thank you for liking that.
Right. The birth of Christ is not something our churches of God. Oh, I'm sorry. I may have jumped in here. Sorry.
No, go ahead, Scarlett.
It's something the churches of God have not emphasized much. We got away from Christmas, but we never brought it back to where we have come to believe It is the Feast of the Tabernacle, Feast of the Sukkah, with the Sukkah being the representation of Christ coming to earth in a human, a primitive dwelling, that the branch shelter kind of pictures that primitive human body that he came in. So we believe he was born at that time. Anyway, so it is something very worthy to explore and look at that birth. All righty, I'll let Alan.
Go ahead, Alan.
Just want to add something here that maybe most of us haven't really realized in the past, but I find it to be a striking fact, and that is, if you look in a harmony of the Gospels, you see all these in the synoptic Gospels that share similar information. But in the book of Luke, chapter 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17 stand alone. So that's 8 chapters in succession, of which the information in those 8 chapters are not found a parallel in Matthew or Mark. That's amazing that Luke adds that much additional information not found in the other synoptics. 8 chapters. All right, that's all I got.
Tom?
Yeah, good stuff there, Tagore. I noticed that even when there was the term Son of Man or Son of God, you use them interchangeably. Would you care to comment on that? Or do you want to do it in a future time?
I can briefly comment, but I would welcome anybody else to comment also after me. Those are 2 titles used both for Jesus Christ, Son of God and Son of Man. In some contexts, it's so demanding that you have to use Son of God when you are addressing his omniscience, God-like attributes. It makes more sense. And at the end of Gospel of John, John writes my version of gospel, that is gospel according to John, he writes it, this is so that you believe that he is Son of God. So that is his attempt. He clearly states that the whole Gospel of John, he's trying to convince or communicate to his audience that he is the Son of God. And the phrase Son of God indicates that he is God in flesh. That is how John taught, and he also cites the occasions and instances where Jews understood it like that. They are ready to take up stones and stone him on the charges of blasphemy whenever Son of God is used for him. So the divinity is the thrust, divinity of Jesus Christ. And Son of Man, on the other hand, is so important. They're equally important. I can't which is more important. It's hard to weigh it. Son of Man basically tells us that even though he is God, he is also man. Now he has to be man. And for him to elevate men to level of God. So in order for him to elevate us, he has to come down first from being divine to human, and he lives as with us, and he dies like us, even though he doesn't have any sin, on himself. He dies for us as a man, and then as a man, he's resurrected from his grave, and then he ascended as a man. Now a man is sitting on the right hand side of God the Father, which is impossible. A man can never ascend to level of God and be elevated. So he is the first man, and with him, he also takes bunch of men and women, which are of same class as men. So the whole concept of second Adam is like first Adam. He also bore the image of the first Adam. So he's covering all of us, all of the children of first Adam. And then he's freely giving us his spiritual image. So look at me. Here I am, reflection of my Father. Even though I am God, now I am a man. You can see me as I am and learn from me and bear my image. You become like me. Then I will take you to my Father. So when we say Son of Man, there's so much richness of blessings he's bringing to us, so many benefits, so that through this title of Son of Man, we now have a new hope to live for him and for his Father, a new purpose for our lives to bear the spiritual image of Son of Man. So that's where the difference, but that both are equally fascinating and equally beneficial for us. I don't know if somebody wants to add more.
Alan?
Yeah, also, we could say because he is in fact the genetic son of Mary, he is a son of mankind, that which was flesh. And Mary being overshadowed by the Spirit makes him the son of God's power. So in that regard too, it's a rather simplistic way of saying it, but in both aspects, one Mary, the other from the Spirit, makes him son of man, son of God.
Any other comments?
Yeah, just thinking about this is a completely out of left field. I just really thought about it tonight, so I have no idea how off base I actually am. But it's like I was just thinking, like when they say, "Let's make man in our image after our likeness," at all the way back at the beginning. I'm just thinking it, and like the way we use man to describe all of mankind, and the way what's it called? And that which is able to think of itself. Like and I've seen some uses of like son or child or that kind of thing where it's not necessarily explicit, but it's where it's the ideal image of something. I realize I'm a bit scatterbrained right now, but that just struck me this evening. I thought I'd mention it.
Thank you, David. That's a kind of contradicting thoughts are embedded in that verse. We are already created in God's image. If that were true, why were we asked to put on the image of Christ? So for me, yeah, go ahead.
Well, we were made in the image of God, it not as just beasts that follow his will, but as entities capable of thought and the ability to choose for ourselves. At least that's the way I've always interpreted it. And I've mostly heard people interpret it that way as well. It not that we are perfect beings as they are, but that we have but in the fact that we have the capacity to choose for ourselves.
That's so true. I completely agree with you, David. The infrastructure is built in us when we are created in his image. All the possibilities and the potentials are built into us when we are created in his image. But when we put on Christ, we are filled with him in every aspect of the infrastructure. Now we are filled with him, just like the glory of God came and filled the temple of Solomon. So we would be filled with fullness of Christ. That's possible because we have that infrastructure already built into our formation. And the first Adam was created. He has built-in potential, as you are saying, ability to choose, ability to learn, ability to absorb Son of God, ability to grow and mature, ability to bear fruit. There's so many multidimensional transformation. It's like caterpillar to butterfly. The total transformation is possible, but you need to have that potential. Like all other beings created in the first week of creation, none of them have that potential. None of them were created in the image of God, except this narrow one specific species called human beings, right? So I agree with you fully. Thank you for your comment. Appreciate it, David.
While we're waiting for people to gather their thoughts and ask questions or give comments, tomorrow's topic for the coffee clutch is fast.
As in speed or as in too fast?
As in the word fast. It has multiple meanings. Today, those who are on the observed barley calendar, today is Atonement. So whatever comes to mind, it's the way the coffee clutch rolls. We'll start with fast and we'll end up with feast. Any other questions or comments for Tagore?
Any items also, you are welcome to add to that list.
Yes, I really did enjoy this tonight, Tagore, going through that. And couple of things, couple of notes that I made. One was when you talked about a wicked generation seeks a sign, and you said that first you believe and then the signs will follow. And those who have a sign first before belief generally don't remember and may fall away, or something to that effect. And I thought that was, I had not heard that before, but a friend was sharing that she never really had a moment when her life changed. It was like she always knew that Jesus was there, even as a child. And so when there's some people were asking for her testimony, and she's like, I don't really have a testimony, a miraculous event that happened or something like that. It's just, I've always known, and I finally just decided and did it. Part of it was because of her husband as well. So then I have another friend who many years ago told me a miraculous event that happened with her. And it almost seemed as if she was always chasing for another miraculous event from God too. I found that interesting. So thank you very much for sharing this, and I look forward to the study.
Thank you, Gloria, for your comment. He says, if you demand for a sign, you are part of that wicked generation. That's something to think about. And regarding testimony and the miracles, it's not always guaranteed that you have some sensational event, especially second and third generation Christians. You may not have that sensational calling experience to share with, so they are kind of lost, like but scriptures are clear. If your parents are believers, the calling automatically comes and falls on you. There's no need for an explicit sensational shake-up. So you shouldn't expect, if one or both of your parents are believers. That also happens to the unbelieving wife or husband. They also may not have sensational thing, because the calling goes on them also, according to Paul. So, and yeah, but I see miracles do happen once you come to faith. There are things God would orchestrate in your life in so many times. You come and hit a wall and you have no escape. You hit a dead end and you are locked into some difficult situation, and you pray, perhaps fast, and you wait upon God, and then God delivers you. Then you have that miraculous occurrence, deliverance, or a supernatural solution. I do believe so. Those things, are they really sensational as movies would portray? That may not be, but we see lots of occurrences in Psalms. God will make them go through stormy seas, and they come to their wits' end, and then they cry out, and then God comes and delivers them. Oh, praise the Lord, for he is good. So those kind of thought and sentiments that are echoed in Psalms, they echo also in our personal lives in so many ways. Sometimes we don't see them as miracles, but people who have prayed and asked God, like, show us your handiwork, and that you are orchestrating things in us, even second and third generation Christians would begin to see. If you ask God, he will show you his handiworks. It's just fascinating, I believe. Yeah, those are my thoughts, but thank you for your comment. I'm done.
Gayleen?
Thank you for the presentation. I'm very excited um to to learn more about the book of Luke, and there's so many exciting things that we will learn from them, and glad to be part of this. Thank you.
I am interested, part of Luke, where he says, I know you'll get to this, I'm sure, but in chapter 1, verse 3, it seemed good to me also, having had perfect understanding of all things from the very first, to write unto you in order. And that perfect understanding from the very first, and of all things from the very first, that's a very interesting way of saying it, considering Luke is not mentioned in the other parts, or the other gospels, or in John. Yeah, so none of the other gospels. And we have him in Acts, where he includes himself in some of the trips, I think with Paul, where the word us or we is used. I just find that fascinating. I'm done.
Yes, Gloria, he's a companion of Paul, and many students of Bible see heavy influence of Paul in this gospel, and some of the thoughts of Paul are echoed in this gospel. But Luke is also not a first-hand witness of Christ. So he was a compiler, compiling information from several sources that were first-hand witnesses, as well as custodians or teachers of the Word of God. So he went through lots of gathering and compiling and putting them in order. And many believe that it is most chronologically ordered book compared to other three. So, but it is not perfect, though, chronologically. There are some exceptions here and there, but largely it is chronological. And you can also see that, like, where is he getting this information from? Like, the things happened with John the Baptist, things happened with Mary. So he must be getting from Mary. That's my gut feeling. And there are some verses that say that Mary did not tell anybody these things. She kept it to herself. Where does he get that information? Surely he must consult Mary, and only Mary can tell that she kept those things to herself. Or God can tell us. But here he says he compiled all this information. We will go through first 4 verses in the next presentation, but it's nice you're thinking about these things. It's a good work by Luke, and as Alan said, he has more covering of the events of Jesus Christ than other 3 gospels. So he has coverage of many events. So we are grateful to Luke for doing this laborious work. And the word Theophilus, many people think is a person. Almost every commentary that I read, they think that it is a person. I no longer believe that this is a person. The Greek word meaning of this Greek word is one who loves God. Theo means God, and Phileus comes from philos. Philia is love, one who loves God. This much work he did It's like a treatise. Cannot be just for one person or one friend. This is for all those who love God. That's my take. It's just a take. These are opinions of men. These are not absolute truths. But I want to make my point. I'm done.